Helldivers 2 is a fast-paced game that requires you and your team to bring in the correct equipment in order to successfully complete each operation. Now, with the numerous amount of guns, gear, and stratagems to choose from, the question is, what is the best overall setups to bring to any of the missions you choose? And that is exactly what I am going to be showing you guys today. I'm going to be showing you the best primaries, secondaries, grenades, stratagems, boosters, and gear to use. With that being said, let's get into it. Starting with the primaries, the best overall weapon that I've found has been the Plasma Scorcher. You can get the Plasma Scorcher at the very end of the first war bond. The Plasma Scorcher is equipped with light armor penetrating rounds and explosive rounds. It has decent stats with its damage, capacity, and recoil. Where I've found this weapon shines the best against is those heavier opponents, like your Chargers and your Hulks. Being equipped with the light armor penetrating rounds and the explosive rounds, it makes quick work of those Striders, of those Bile Spewers, and anything that is lightly armored or shielded. The only area where the Plasma Scorcher struggles is against swarms of enemies. Being a single-fired weapon and having only 15 shots, this makes it a little difficult to take care of those swarms of Terminids and automatons. But compared to some of these other primaries, the Plasma Scorcher is definitely the most well-rounded in taking down any opponent. The second best primary has got to be the SG-225 Breaker. This is a high damage shotgun equipped with light armor penetrating rounds and is equipped to take down the majority of the automatons and Terminids. Why I would choose the Scorcher over the Breaker is mainly because the Scorcher is equipped with those explosive rounds. The Breaker can handle the majority of the enemies that the Scorcher can, but not having the explosive round limits it a little bit. However, where it makes up for that is that ability to take down those crowds of Terminids and automatons. So, depending on your playstyle, if you like to take care of the swarms more than those heavy opponents, I would go with the Breaker instead of the Scorcher. Now, I also wanted to include the SG-225 Breaker Spray and Pray. This is very similar to the last Breaker we just saw. The only difference I have found really is that it has a little bit less range than the previous Breaker, but you're gaining a little more close range combat with it. I also wanted to mention two of the assault rifles. If you have not unlocked any of the previous guns I just mentioned, I would recommend using one of these two. These weapons work in most situations, however, once you have unlocked those previous weapons I just discussed, you'll see why they are a better overall weapon than these two assault rifles. Now, if you don't want to use a shotgun or a marksman rifle, then I recommend using the LAS-16 Sickle. The stats are very similar to the last two assault rifles we just looked at, however, this weapon is energy-based. Being energy-based, it gives you the ability to never run out of ammo. I do find the Scorcher and Breaker to still be a better overall primary to use. However, if you want to use a fully automatic rifle that doesn't run out of ammo, then I would choose the LAS-16 Sickle. It does a good job at handling those smaller enemies and any of those swarms that you need to take care of. Being lower damage than the Scorcher and Breaker means taking down those heavy opponents like the Hulks and Chargers is going to take a little bit longer. But the reason why I would still consider this weapon to be one of the best overall weapons to use is because you essentially have unlimited ammo, meaning you can just willingly shoot as many rounds as you need to without having to worry about reloading or putting down supply crates or finding any ammo. There's only one secondary that I see that really fits the role as being the best overall secondary to use, and that is the P19 Redeemer. The P19 Redeemer acts as great backup to your primary. With only having 4 secondaries to choose from, the P19 Redeemer is definitely the best option you can choose. Now, to quickly talk about the grenades, there really isn't a bad option to pick besides the smoke grenade, but the two best grenades I have found have been the impact grenade and also the stun grenade. If I had to pick one grenade, it would be the impact grenade. It is definitely the easiest to use. You can just throw it into a swarm of enemies and they'll all get hit by it. Any of the other grenades with the fuse time I've found to be a little bit more difficult to use, mainly because half the time you are being chased by enemies, and sometimes it's hard to land that grenade in a perfect spot to hit the group or just an individual. One big benefit of the impact grenade is its ability to take down the tanks. At the back of the tank, they have their weak spot. And with the impact grenade, you can throw it at that weak spot, and within 2 to 3 grenades, that tank will blow up without having to use any stratagems. Now, I've just recently started to use the stun grenade, and I've found this to be a great tool at taking down those heavier opponents like your Hulks and your Chargers. You can throw it at one of the Hulks or the Chargers, and then they'll be stopped in their place, and then you can get behind them and then take them down at their weak spot on their back. This is also great at just stopping swarms of enemies. You can simply just throw this stun into a swarm of enemies, stopping them for a few seconds while you get away. Or you could just throw this at a swarm and then call in a certain stratagem to take down all those enemies all at once. Now to talk about the best overall armor to use. I'm hoping in the near future they add more armor with different abilities, because as it is right now, there isn't too many armor passives that seem to be all that useful besides the one I'm going to show you here. And the one armor that I highly recommend is using one of the medium armors that have the medkit passive. The medkit passive allows you to take an extra 2 stims into a mission. It also allows that stim effect to last an extra 2 seconds. I've tried numerous other armor builds with the light, medium, and heavy armor, but I keep going back to the armor passive medkit on that medium armor build. Having the extra 2 stims is greatly beneficial, but what I think is more beneficial has to be the extra 2 seconds you get from that stim effect with this armor. There is other armor that is viable to use and is effective in some missions that you pick. However, I do find myself coming back to the medium armor with that medkit passive. It definitely gives me the greatest benefit when running through missions, especially on those higher difficulties. Now you can get this medium armor with that medkit passive either in the War Bond or in the Superstore. As it stands right now, capes and helmets have no difference in their stats or abilities, so just choose one you like and make your Helldiver look stylish. For boosters, there really isn't a bad choice, but I tend to always try and pick the stamina enhancement. This seems to be probably my favorite, mainly because half the time, like I said before, you're always just trying to run away from enemies, get in a better position, etc. So this I've found to be the best booster, but you also have 4 Helldivers on your team, so you can mix and match, and I would always still try and have this on, though. If you are playing on the higher difficulties like Helldivers difficulty, then I would consider maybe adding on the flexible reinforcement budget passive or the other reinforcement passive, because at those difficulties you tend to die more, so having one of these allows your team to have a few more reinforcements, or if you're left to none, this flexible reinforcement budget booster will allow you to call in your teammates a little faster, as that timer when you have no reinforcements left will go down even quicker. Now for the best overall stratagems to use. Now there are many options to choose from, however there are 4 here that I think are the best to bring into any mission. To start off, the Eagle 500 kg bomb has got to be my favorite, just big weapon stratagem. I use this to take down the Bile Titans, tanks, or if I just have a whole swarm of enemies that I need to take down quickly, I will call this in the middle of them, and then soon they will be just evaporated. Now, without upgrading your ship, you only get one of these 500 kg bombs to use before it has to cool down. However, once you upgrade your ship, you can then use 2 of these 500 kg bombs before you have to rearm the Eagle. The second stratagem I pick 9 times out of 10 is going to be the Eagle Airstrike. You get 3 uses with this. It covers a decent area. You're able to take down terminate holes or fabricators with it. You can take down Hulks and Chargers with this if you direct impact them. Even Bile Titans, it does decent damage. It doesn't usually one-shot them, but it does enough damage to then open them up and allow you to then shoot them with your primary or just call another Eagle Strike on. The last offensive stratagem I like to choose is the Orbital Laser. The Orbital Laser is great at cleaning up areas. You can throw it down. It gets called down in a matter of seconds. You can throw this on a Bile Titan, a Charger, a Hulk, or any of the larger enemies, and it will take them down. You do only have 3 uses with this, so throughout the course of the mission, you just have to be wary that you only get 3 chances to throw this, so use them while you need them, but try not to waste them. I would still choose Eagle stratagems over orbital, mainly because you can use them more often. That cooldown time doesn't take as long as some of these other stratagems in the orbital category. But having 2 Eagle stratagems and that orbital laser allows you to call in an Eagle stratagem and the orbital laser at the same time if you find yourself in a situation where you're really getting swarmed and you need to take down as many enemies as possible. And the last stratagem I almost always have with me no matter what mission I'm in, it is definitely my favorite overall stratagem to use. It is the shield generator pack. More times than not, I have found that the shield generator pack has saved me more deaths than I can count. The shield generator pack got recently nerfed in the last balance update. With that balance update, the shield generator pack got nerfed, and the time that the shield regens after being broken got raised. However, broken shields generate still rather quickly, and the shield is still very effective against all enemies. If you try a mission without the shield, you'll notice right away you'll probably be getting quite a few more deaths without having this equipped. Well guys, that has been my take on what is the best overall gear, weapons, stratagems to take with you on any operation or mission you guys choose. If there are loadouts or setups you guys think are an overall better build, drop them down in the comments below. I'd love to give them a shot and see what you guys are working with. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.